pain, get you through the days. Grit high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. Sport all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Can you feel it? Can you smell it? It's football season. We here, baby. We is in this thing. Mike, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. I'm liking the voice today, Coach. I'm digging it. It's kind of smooth jazz tone. I'm rocking with it.
Charles, the man, the driver. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. I can't smell a whole lot because my nose is a little bit stuffed up, but I could feel it, though. Football's in the air, waving around while you just don't care. Justin Fields throwing interceptions in the air. Everybody's...
But he didn't. And your quarterback didn't even play. So I don't want to hear it.
That's right. He didn't. That's right. My quarterback didn't play, but at least he's training, unlike somebody else whose 7 months of a vacation is not enough. You need to take an extra 2 weeks to go back to the Bucs. Yeah, great timing, Brady.
We'll talk about that in a minute, because you was really on Brady right now. Charles, where you going? Or where you going, and where you coming from, sir?
I'm actually coming from Disney. Had a nice little solo weekend stay up there to kind of get my mind off things.
He was with
Hold on.
Head back home.
He was with Goofy. That's cool.
You went to Disneyland?
Disney World.
Well, I'm sorry, World.
Even better.
Yeah.
By yourself?
Yes.
Wife didn't get mad?
No, because I needed a break from everybody.
The son was like,
we're not going to go into detail. Let's put it this way. Stuff upstairs is not working to the greatest of its ability right now, and I need to recharge.
As you should. Okay. Sometimes I go to baseball games by myself. It's a great time.
Absolutely. Those last 2 to 3 hours. This is the last 2 to 3 days.
Exactly. Oh, you were gone for it. All right, well, that's
different. Yeah, he's gone for a minute.
I was going for a weekend. Friday, Saturday, and coming home Sunday.
Mike, what's going on with you, man?
I actually, before you get to Mike, I actually should have had another park day today, but my legs and feet are freaking tired. So I'm done.
I bet. That's
so let me ask you this. Since you went by yourself and you went to the park and everything, so what'd you do? Like, did you ride rides?
Oh, rode all the rides I want at the pace I want. You got to keep in mind, every one step for me, every 10 steps for me is one step for my wife. So I was able to go in my own pace. I rode 3 rides in an hour, which the average wait time was usually between 60 to 70 minutes. But I also had a disability fast pass because of my PTSD and ADHD. So I had a disability fast pass. So I just go and click on a ride. Okay, come on back in this amount of time. And you just go to the lightning lane and you get on a ride.
Nice.
So I did everything I wanted to do. I rode the best ride there is, Guardians of the Galaxy, like 4 times. It was awesome.
Okay. Good. Mike, what about you, man? How was your week?
Man, just living, bro. Just living, just doing it. That's really it. There wasn't really much going on. Watched a little bit of baseball. Watched a little bit of guys doing steroids, watching baseball. It was an eventful week. $300 million man just got caught with the Peds. So, it's an interesting week. But the NFL is back. So that's something, I could focus towards that. I could forget all about, October baseball. We're focusing towards October meaningless football. That's one of the biggest things I'm taking away. It was a great week. Me and you, we're kind of talking about it. Obviously, we're going to get into the games in a little bit. But watching the quadruple double, they called it, of all 4 NFL games yesterday was a lot of fun. I don't know who's playing today. You're going to have to catch me up on that one. But
the Raiders.
I did one game.
The Raiders, that's it?
Yes.
Well, at least yesterday was fun. So there's that. But yesterday was a good time, and I wanted to go to Soldier Field. I wanted to check out the game. But Coach, I'm not going to lie to you. I messed up one parlay, and now I'm not going to be doing much of anything for like the next week and a half. So don't gamble. Don't do bets, kids. Just get a job and just keep grinding because this ain't
If
it.
you feel like you have a problem, there is always help. Just don't go to Mike for help.
I'll tell you what I did, and this is a great transition, Coach. And Coach, I hope you're feeling okay. I hope you're just a little, I hope you were partying last night. I hope you're not a little under the weather. But last night, I bet on the Saints, the Dolphins. Who else did I bet on? I bet on the Steelers and then the Dallas Cowboys. And I woke up this morning baffled by the Dallas Cowboys. And that's we'll talk about that later. But I'm in a bad shape right now.
Can we just say also, anybody that bets on preseason anything is a fool.
Hey man,
Yes.
I had to get my lick in. I had to. I'm ready.
That is almost like betting on who's going to win a wrestling match.
Do you know what preseason is, Mike?
Yes, I do, sir. But the thing about
Especially
preseason is
the first
figure it out.
Mike, the first game, maybe game and a half, the second game, the starters don't even start. So now it's about depth.
But that's the thing.
You
You gotta think about
matter.
it. What's the depth? You gotta think about the depth.
Yes, Cowboys. What depth?
Bo, they should have it.
Name the third receiver for the Cowboys.
Oh, Mari's gone. Can't do it.
Thank you. Thank you. So now he played the first quarter, and then they went to the 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then on top of that, you talk about Cooper Rush. Oh, he was horrible.
It was awful, bro. Like, it was bad. It looked like Mac Jones 2.0. Like, it was horrible. Who said that?
I called it, didn't I not? Prior to the show, I called it. Y'all going to go ahead and knock heads on Mac Jones. Y'all going to go ahead and rag on him.
I didn't say
that's
anything.
fine. That's fine.
I didn't hear it.
That's fine. That's fine.
Hey, so pump the brakes on Mac Jones. Pump the brakes on Mac Jones. It's preseason. I'm not gonna lie to you. I watched halves and I watched players.
I watched halves.
A lot of the games, it was like, this is bad football. So it was real bad. At moments I was like, oh man, I have to switch this. So which games did you wanted to watch before it started and you was excited to watch, Mike?
I was excited about the Bears just to see the new offense, just to see Matt Eberflus, Justin Fields. But to take away my bias, I was really excited about the Pittsburgh Steelers, but it let me down. It let me down in the same conversation of last season with the whole Nick Foles, Andy Dalton situation with Justin Fields. I don't understand why Kenny Pickett was the third man to go. I completely understand Mitchell Trubisky starting, like if that's the way you want to go with it and you want to, get Kenny acclimated into the NFL, that's fine. But for Mason Rudolph to come into that second quarter to play with the first string starters, like that pissed me off. I wanted to see Kenny play with Pickens. I wanted to see him play with Najee. I wanted to see him play with all these guys. It's frustrating to me to see him playing with the third string starters, whether he's ready or not. I think he should have got those reps because Mason's not your guy. Mason's not going to be your guy. And that to me was just like, it was really disappointing. I was ready to see Pickens and Pickett's connection and Pickett, pardon me.
Mike, you got to relax, man. It's the first game of the first week. Relax.
He asked me a question.
Kenny Pickett is still learning. He's still learning the plays. Mason Rudolph has been there, and Trubisky, we already know, is probably going to be game day starter. Okay, so Trubisky's going to get the first team reps, and then it comes down to, all right, how long has this person been here for? So Rudolph was clearly going to get the second quarter, and then who knows, maybe this week, if Pickett outperforms Rudolph, which I have no doubt he should go ahead and get the second quarter next time, or even the first quarter.
I'll tell you what, Charles. I will take a chair before I take Mason Rudolph getting second string reps. You know what he is, and you understand what he is. So you shouldn't be giving him those reps.
It's not that he's getting second string reps.
It is an open three-headed monster competition. That's all it is.
That's your
relax. It's only one game.
The three-headed coach. I'm sorry. And I love Mitch Trubisky. But that is the three-headed monster on the slow bus, on the short bus. Like that's These ain't no three-headed monsters. There's no three-headed monster. This is a kid who's starting, who can't read a defense. The third-string kid has tiny hands, and the second-string kid got hit in the head by Myles Garrett with a helmet. That man ain't been right since that hit. These ain't no three-headed monsters. That's dope.
Well, I kind of understand why they put Pickett probably going into the second half, the third and fourth quarter. Because guess
You
what?
want him to play the most. That's what it is.
It's that, and it is going to be vanilla. So everything that they do is going to be super vanilla, and it's going to be easy. Right. No one's doing exotic blitzes, and plus you're just trying things. So I wouldn't really tripping about that. For me, to be honest with you, it was the Seahawks game because I wanted to see how everybody goes.
I did watch a little bit of that. That was it was all right.
I just want to see the quarterback.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, that was my focus, is watching both quarterbacks, see how they run. I mean, even you take the Carolina Panthers, I just watched the quarterbacks because I just wanted to see how they was. And then with the Washington, I wanted to see Sam Howell.
Mm-hmm. Sam Howell looked decent. He looked decent. I was happy for him.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, Coach.
And
before we get Charles back in here, Sam Howell. I watched a lot of him at UNC. He's the kind of kid who he's a good locker room guy. I feel like maybe he's not the most overall talented, but do you think no injuries brought into this, but do you think there's a shot he takes the Wentz job at some point during the season if they're not winning games?
No.
That's what I was thinking. I looked at the contract and I was like, I don't think they'll move on from Wentz. I still don't.
Well, they're gonna run the football.
Yeah.
They're gonna run the football. And no offense to the Colts. Mm-hmm. The receiver core is way better in Washington than in Indianapolis. So he has guys that can actually get open, has speed, top end speed. I just really, really, really think I like him. I just don't know how the quarterback. I don't think he fits the head coach. He don't fit his philosophy. Right. Run the football, play defense, make a couple throws.
Yeah, I think it's a weird situation because it's like I feel like it's not only just Sam's not ready. I feel like that offense isn't ready for a legitimate wild throwing quarterback. Like, you want someone who's kind of like a field general, and that's what Carson's kind of become. He's not the greatest. He doesn't make the greatest of decisions, but he can definitely check down the football when he needs to, and just hand off that rock. He did that last year with the Colts, and he's going to be able to do that this year. So I think that's really what they're going to have to figure out is what are they doing offensively. Defensively, I think they'll be fine. Once that boy Chase Young gets back, I'm super excited. I'm just messing with you, Coach. I'm just messing with you. But no, I do think when Chase gets back, though, there will be a difference. But it's not – I don't think he's, what everyone thinks he is. But I think he's a great athlete. But it's something to where they're going to be defense first, running game second. And then if all comes the worst, you're going to ask Carson to throw the football.
Yes. So let me ask you this: what did you think about? What do you think about the Browns and the Jaguars game? Because that was for me. Honestly, that was a game I wanted to see because I wanted to see Doug Peterson offense with Lawrence. I want to see how it works with him because I know Lawrence didn't play. I was disappointed he didn't play the first game, but I was curious about that. Also, I mean, you get to see Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, Deshaun did not have himself a day. He went 1 for 5, had 7 yards, 0 interceptions, 0 touchdowns. 7 yards with an 8-game or full season suspension coming soon. We do have that verdict on that Goodell is fighting it, and the rumor going around is that Deshaun Watson is completely accepting a $5 million fine and an 8-game suspension is from what I'm hearing right now. He's saying, he'll take that, which when you sign a $200 million guaranteed deal, $5 million really is like $5, but that's neither here nor there. But it's something to where whether you believe Deshaun Watson was guilty or not, I was hoping to see him ball out. I was for Cleveland fans, I was hoping to see him ball out. Like, give me something. So it definitely was putting a damper on things. I know Ray Cruz was at the game. He's a huge Jaguars fan, season ticket holder. So they were really happy with how that went. Trevor Lawrence, 6 for 12, 95 yards, 1 touchdown. it is a pretty solid day. But my big one was Coach Travis Etienne. Seeing him get reps was and really kind of understanding the offense was really exciting to me. He went had 9 carries, 23 yards, and I'm looking at the receiving side of things. I don't see him in there. Or he did. He had 1 reception for 10 yards. So I think, Travis Etienne's going to be a big part of that offense. I'm really excited to see what he brings to the table. I think he can give James Robinson a run for his money. I think that'll be a great backfield right there. You have one guy who's more versatile, and then you have another guy in James who is just that ground and pound third down guy. And I think you can really run something up the board with them. Now, as for Cleveland, I did want to touch on this because I know we got our boy in the back having issues right now. But I found it very interesting that Kareem Hunt did not play. I found it very interesting. And obviously the rumors this week came out. Charles, my man, the man,
Sorry about that, guys. You guys all went digitized for a second. I think I ran into a neighborhood where I think that the population is less than 100.
I think you ran into a T-Mobile hotspot. But with that being
probably
said, I
don't have T-Mobile.
We are not hating on T-Mobile. If ASAP wants to be sponsored, that's perfectly fine. But I stand by my statement. But like I said, we didn't see Kareem Hunt. And the biggest part of that is he just requested a trade. And he doesn't want to be a part of this organization right now. So to me, obviously Nick Chubb ain't playing the same way David Montgomery ain't playing, the same way Jonathan Taylor doesn't play that much. It's preseason. Like Charles said, who cares? So it's something to, understand, though, with Kareem. Was he not playing because you're resting the starters, or was he not playing because he's not going to play, because he's holding out until you start to see that? And we have Roquan Smith in a very similar situation in Chicago, to where he's at practices, he's at the game, but he's not playing until you figure out that contract. So I'm very curious to see the Kareem Hunt situation and where they go from there. And that's all I felt about that matchup.
Well, I wasn't really expecting much from Deshaun Watson. I mean, you ain't played in 2 years almost.
Right.
If you really think about it, you haven't really done anything. This is the first time, when we want to say June, July is the first time you picked up a football and you were throwing. So I was kind of expecting that to be what it is. And it's going to look rough for him. I don't care if it's 6 games, 8 games, 10 games. If it's a year, when he comes back, he's going to struggle. Mm-hmm. I mean, it is what it is. So I was just curious to see it. And so let me ask you this, Charles. Did you think Deshaun should have played in the preseason game?
I'd say why not? If he's cleared to play, go ahead and put him in there and let him play. Now, is it first team starters? I don't know, because you want to say that because clearly there's a suspension. Clearly Goodell's after Deshaun just like he was after Brady back in the day. So, Goodell's probably going to go ahead and get a victory. He's going to get a year suspension for Deshaun. So, but you also at the same time, Deshaun would like to play, a real game. And I think you kind of want to see what you have, what you paid $235 million for. It's not a regular game, but it's still 11 on 11. It's full contact. Yeah, throw him in there. I wouldn't see. I mean, basically right now, Deshaun is a backup. If you really want to look at it, Deshaun's a backup. Brissett's your main guy because he's the one that you're grooming him to take the snap in game 1. He's going to be the one taking the snap against Carolina. Deshaun is going to be serving a suspension regardless. So right now, I would put Deshaun in the 2s. Bring him after Brissett but you still have Deshaun to have some feel for the game, some playing time for the game. Again, this is your future. So the sooner you can, the less rust he has when he's done with his suspension, the better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think he should do it. You didn't get a chance because of your issues with your driving. What preseason games that you was excited to see?
What do you think? The one that I watched Thursday, the Patriots game. I mean, what do you think I was going to watch? Listen, I was bummed that heard Mac Jones wasn't starting, but then again, so was most of the offense. Most of the offense didn't really play. You didn't see Damian Harris. You didn't see you didn't see Stevenson. You didn't see any of the big name receivers. They played Tyquan Thornton, who I was kind of curious to see what he would do, and the guy is a speed burner. He is somebody where I hope they utilize him. They utilize him in lots of one-on-one coverage and just burn him right down the sideline. As long as somebody has the ability to throw an accurate ball, Mac.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. As long as somebody can throw an accurate ball, I see this kid possibly being a good receiver for the Patriots out of the draft. And that's not something we see very often in New England.
I was going to ask, Charles, what big-name receivers? Yeah, I was spitballing. You know, what actual big-name receivers? Big name. See, not what ifs. Not
what ifs, right. Because there's been a lot of receivers that showed lots of promise.
Who?
And the biggest receiver that we took out of the draft wasn't even supposed to be a receiver, as a quarterback, Julian Edelman.
Hey, man.
So you got to give him that. But Terry Glenn, I think he was an awesome receiver.
Did y'all draft Terry Glenn?
I think Malcolm Mitchell, if he didn't have that injury, he was a stud in Super Bowl 51. But if he didn't have that injury, I think Malcolm Mitchell could have been great.
Why are we talking about could have, sir? I asked you what great quarterbacks you had. Not quarterbacks, pardon me, wide receivers. Edelman. No, have, sir, have.
Oh, have?
Oh, they have.
Do you think New England ever carries great receivers ever?
No.
Randy Moss was the exception, but we don't have any great receivers. Honestly, right now, the receiver that comes to mind is Devontae Parker, and I don't know if you consider him great. I would consider him good.
So let me ask you this, Charles, since we're on the topic. How do you feel about the offense for the Patriots right now?
From what I heard, it's really scary.
No. From what you saw.
From what I saw, the run game needs a lot of help. But then again, we didn't see the starters.
Okay.
Zappa is garbage. I from what I saw, he's garbage. So you might as well just throw him back into whatever high school, college he came from. It looks like he was throwing a damn Nerf ball, to be honest with you. I saw no zip on that ball whatsoever. I mean, Hoyer's, he doesn't have the greatest arm either, but at least he was able to get the passes into the receivers without them being lobs.
Charles, how would you feel about, and we kind of talked about it, you said you want to really dominate the run game. And, I will give your boy his flowers. Mac is very good at just being a young game manager. I feel like he understands his role and he's not trying to go out of the way to make plays. When you look at someone who's on the table like Kareem Hunt right now, potentially, who, running backs aren't going to go for first round picks. Maybe it'll be a fourth or a fifth. Are you willing to do that experiment with Kareem Hunt in New England?
No.
We got too many. We're actually looking at getting rid of Harris. If Stevenson actually goes ahead and chubs up, we may get rid of Damian Harris. And Harris is supposed to be the running back number one that was slated to start. So no, if anything, and Coach knows this because Coach rags on me all the time that we have over 100 running backs. Yeah, we gotta trim down. So no, you don't go ahead. And we're not going to pay Kareem Hunt any big chunk of change, and that's what he's going to want. But no, we'll pass on that.
Pass on that one? Damn.
Yeah.
Well, guess you'll have to find your receiver somewhere else, sir.
Probably. Yeah, probably. I don't know. We got. Listen, the Patriots have won Super Bowls on good receivers and average.
Here it goes, Coach.
Yeah, there he goes.
Talking
but we had a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Rob Gronkowski.
Okay, here we go.
But we had a Hall of Fame quarterback.
That's all you get.
I didn't say tight ends. I said receivers.
I'm done. I give you your flowers. We're done with New England. We're done. Hey, so here we go. New segment coming up. We're talking about rookie quarterbacks as we watch them play. Let me ask you this: do you really, as of right now, it's just right now, do you think they drafted in the right spot that they're supposed to be in? Where you had Pickett, you had Ritter, Willis, and Corral? For me, my sake is Willis. Watching Willis, I haven't watched Willis. I watched more of his highlights, and what they said he could do and everything.
Right.
He can't. He don't want to throw the football.
No.
He didn't want to stay in the pocket. Like they got close and he just took off running. And it's not. I mean, you could do that because he was at a D1 AA. You can do that at D1 AA's. You can't do that in the NFL. Just take off running. You don't have that kind of speed.
Mike Vrabel hit it right on the head. He is leaps and bounds where he needs to be. He has got so much to catch up on to be an NFL quarterback. He's not there.
No.
Yeah. Do you think Mike Vrabel can get him there?
No. I don't personally. I think that's exactly why you bring in a guy like Ryan Tannehill, is because he couldn't get Marcus Mariota there. I think that was one of the biggest things, is you need a guy who's already acclimated, already in this system, already understanding what it takes. And not to get a damper on Tampa's situation, but it was a similar situation with Tampa just a few years ago. Jameis is a stud, but it takes a very special person to get Jameis there. And to get Jameis to be able to do that. Sean Payton's one of those guys who can do that. You know, seeing him in New Orleans is a different conversation. But that's why you bring in Tom. That's why you bring in Tannehill. That's why you bring in guys who understand that system and understand what it takes. Cleveland is a perfect situation. Say what you want about Deshaun, but you don't need to coach that boy about how to play football. Like, that's what it is. Baker, that boy needs milk. That boy needs help. That man is a travesty. But to answer your question, Coach, I've said it since the draft. I felt like Ritter went so low, and it took so long for him to get off the board, and he performed very well. He went 10 for 22, 103 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. The kid played a great game with an Atlanta team that honestly isn't the greatest. Now, I saw Drake London did get a little banged up, so my thoughts and prayers are out for him. I'm hoping, it's nothing too serious. I heard it's his knee. But him, Kyle Pitts. Pardon me. I'm stuck on Pickett's. But Kyle Pitts, and then obviously you're going to have Calvin Ridley come back once he's done with his gambling addiction. We're all suffering out here. It's a bad time. But if you need help, call Michael Jordan's number. They'll help you out. But it's something to where I think Ritter's going to be one of the best quarterbacks out of this class. I think it's.
You really think so?
I think it's going to take a little bit more time. I think it's going to take a couple years for Atlanta to catch up and for him to get ready for the NFL speed of the game. I'm really excited to see Ritter and what he brings. I do like Pickett. I do like everybody you're naming. I like Malik. But my biggest problem with Malik is Malik. I feel like sometimes he gets in his own way. Sometimes he's in his own head. And that's kind of to be, Lamar Jackson was kind of a very similar way, except the difference between.
Don't put them.
Well, I'm not going to compare them in their game, but mentally, the thing about Lamar is, okay, screw it, I'm rolling out. But the difference between Malik and Lamar is 100 times more talented. So it's okay. Like Lamar was able to scramble and Lamar was able to do what he needed to do. Malik right now, to Charles's point, isn't there talent-wise and isn't really there, mentally to be able to play as a starting quarterback in the NFL. I think it could come. It could definitely come, but this is more of like, they did that as an experiment, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, they still got Ryan Tannehill. So, I mean, it's one of those things where I look at a guy like Ritter, and I think he's going to be that guy.
Okay. So, I like Ritter. I don't know. Like, again, Ritter's one of those guys. He's hard to really read coming out of Cincinnati. Right. The only game that you can say is when they play Alabama, and, of course, that was no matchup. Right. And it wasn't – I'm not going to say it wasn't because the secondary was so strong. It was just Alabama just overpowered.
They're insane,
they
bro.
They just bullied.
They're an NFL team in college. That's what it is.
Yes, but I'm curious. I'm very, very curious to see how Riddle will work with Atlanta. Because if you go back and you think you got Landon, you have Pitts, then you have Ridley next year. That's a nice little receiver.
And you got Cordell Patterson.
You got Cordell Patterson. Yeah. Look at you. So I like that.
Wait, Coach, Pickett. Really quick. Look at Charles shaking his head. Another former Patriot that's having success. You hate to see it, Charles. You hate to see it.
No. I'm shaking my head, waiting for me to go ahead, and I can chime in on Malik Willis's stature here. You guys keep going on and on like it's a two-man show. So anyway, Mike Vrabel's a smart dude. He's not going to go ahead and take Willis if he can't mold him. So yes, I do think Willis will go ahead and be comfortable with the Titans offense. It might be a different type of offense than what Tannehill's running, but I think Willis can go ahead and adapt to being a pocket passer, but it ain't going to be easy. It's not going to be overnight, and it's probably not going to be this season. So Tannehill, yes, he's got the reins, but Willis, you definitely know he is the quarterback in the future in training.
I don't know, Charles. Honestly, truthfully, Charles, I don't trust the Tennessee Titans with quarterback coaching.
Yeah.
Like, you have to have quarterback coaching because what he doesn't believe in, they don't believe in throwing the football as much. They believe in pound and pound. And guess what? If 3rd and 10, pound it some more, and we're gonna pound it again.
Right.
Like, that's the only thing. I don't think he's gonna get the development that he needs.
I'll say
because he's gonna have
Charles's point though. My bad, coach. But to Charles's point, there's this other stud that came out of Tennessee this year, Treylon Burks, and I think if anybody's going to be able to make up for some of Malik's early flaws and while he develops is Treylon. Working with Treylon, this kid out of Arkansas, an absolute dog. Like, this kid is bigger than A.J. Brown. This kid is faster than A.J. Brown. This kid has all the intangibles to be a great wide receiver. And to Charles's point, if you play with great players long enough and you really want to be a part of this game, I feel like that's going to rub off on a lot of guys. So, Malik definitely could. I think it's possible. But again, I think Coach and I's point is more so like, can you trust Mike Vrabel to do this? Is that going to be able to control that?
Vrabel.
I don't care what it is.
It's not necessarily can you trust them, Vrabel, to do it. It's can you teach an athlete to be a quarterback first?
Why would you go ahead and take a quarterback that has this type of offensive mind, and why would you take him if you couldn't go ahead and teach him or didn't see the talent in him?
But that goes back to when you evaluate, like, you watch him on film, he looks good, but it's lesser talent. Like, the teams that he was playing against don't have the end. If you watch, when you watch the game, even the ends didn't rush up field. They contained and waited, because soon as that pocket collapsed a little bit or get tight to him, he just tried to take off running.
Right.
Like, you have to. He doesn't have that right now to sit in the pocket and throw the football.
And Charles,
and that's one of the things he has to have.
You look at the 86 overall pick, round 3, pick number 22. Like, if a talent, like Coach is saying, is there, why not? Why not make that your experiment run? Because you look at Tennessee, they're very close in their eyes. Maybe Coach and you don't agree that they're a championship caliber team anytime soon, but it's a conversation of they believe they don't have that many missing pieces. So for a 3rd round pick to potentially get a guy who could turn into one of the best quarterbacks of his draft, from a lot of different people's eyes, I see no issue in taking him where they took him. It's an experiment. It's a what if.
But you still got a lot of talent in the 3rd round. Why couldn't you take something you need now?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
But what does that
mean? So I think if you're gonna go ahead and do an experiment in the 3rd round, I think that's a wasted pick for this year. If you need missing pieces,
Charles, let me ask you this, and this is the honest truth. What was the weak link for the Tennessee Titans?
By the 3rd round. By the 3rd round.
No, not even that. If Derrick Henry was healthy, who's the weak link? The quarterback. The quarterback was the weak link.
It was.
Because if you look if you look at the playoff game against Cincinnati, it wasn't the defense.
You are not taking Ryan Tannehill out of the game, though. You're not.
I'm just saying.
But that's why it's an experiment. You don't
so why not? Why not go after a running back in the 3rd round to back up Henry to keep the odds in your favor?
Because it's one of those things where that's not going to be your franchise altering move. And honestly, being real, even the running game in Tennessee during the playoffs wasn't really the issue, even with Henry not being there. When Henry came back, it looked like, he had cinder blocks for feet, but that's what did Coach say? He had a plate in his foot, so I can't even blame him. But it had something to do with when you look at Ryan Tannehill throwing 3 interceptions in your game in pivotal moments, you have to look at it and understand, okay, Ryan's going to be here right now. And I look at it kind of like the Green Bay Packers. They understand Aaron Rodgers at that time thought he wasn't going to stick around. So they draft Jordan Love later in the different rounds is because he's not a 1st-round talent. He's not a 1st-round pick, but, he could mold into that. And it's something to where you can look at it and be like, 3 years from now, when this kid's 3 years into the NFL instead of rocking out with some rookie quarterback who doesn't know how to read a defense, you have a guy who potentially got molded into a great quarterback, and he's ready now. So I feel like I definitely see where they were coming from with that, because like Coach said, you hit everywhere else. Everywhere else is fine, and you have to go into this season expecting Derrick Henry to be healthy. You can't draft his replacement after a back-to-back 2,000 season yards. And what was it, Coach? He played 8 games and had over 1,000 yards.
He played 8 games. He was leading the
It's
league.
not that,
like
though. He's become injury prone now.
I don't think you could say that.
You can't say injury prone after 1 year, Charles.
That.
Not 1 year. Not 1 year.
Right.
If that's the case, there's a lot of people that are injury prone.
I think everybody in this league is injury prone.
Tom Brady was injury prone. He was out for 1 year, but he still won 4 more Super Bowls.
Tom tore his ACL. He's perfectly fine.
But Charles, to your point, I think he has the potential. I don't know if Tennessee can bring the potential out to teach him. Like I said, I like Corral, man. You saw him even in the Commanders quarterback. You saw him at the end. He did a lot of good. I'm not Corral. I'm tripping. Sam Howell.
Yeah.
Sam Howell looked good. He did a lot of good things, and I was very, very shocked. I was very surprised to see he sat in the pocket. He stayed in the pocket. He moved to stay open to look for the pass, and he ran, of course, when he had the opportunity. But to carry on, Nate said, boom, he don't think Mariota will start past week 6.
Yeah, I got Ritter coming in at some point. But again, though, Coach actually brought this to my attention last year with the Bears. If Mariota is healthy and they are not winning football games, I don't think you see Ritter come in. I don't. I think Mariota needs to stay healthy, and if he doesn't, which we all know he normally doesn't, that's when you'll see Ritter. But if they're losing games and they're 0 for 5 and Mariota's perfectly healthy and he doesn't look like an abomination out there, I think they'll keep him in there.
Yes, sir.
But Mariota, man, he just needs to retire.
Yeah, it's bad.
He does.
But so is that whole team.
He's a glorified clipboard holder. That's it.
100%.
So right now, who's the best rookie quarterback? Mike.
I would say I got 1A, 1B. Right now, I'll give Ritter the edge, but I think Sam Howell is right behind him. But I think I've watched a lot of Sam Howell. I think the issue with Sam is decision making later down the stretch. And overall just athleticism. So I'm gonna give it to Ritter right now just for being more complete, and I feel like more NFL ready now, but Sam's well on his way.
Charles?
I didn't get a chance to see a whole lot, so I can't really go ahead and judge on this one, but I will go ahead and from what I've heard, I think Pickett has the best chance to go ahead and overtake anybody in Pittsburgh, just given the reps.
Man, you just hate no Money T. Money Mitch. Don't hate on Money Mitch.
You know what? It's all right. We're going to win MVP this year, Money. It's all right. We're going to win it. We're going to win it.
Hey, here we go. Better or no? Trey Lance this year. Charles, what do you think?
Wait, better than
better?
What?
You think he's going to be better this year, or you think he's going to have growth this year, or no?
Listen, when you go ahead and put up against nothing, of course you're going to be better. I mean, that's kind of a silly question to ask. But so Trey Lance dipped his toe in the pool. Okay, now you're going into the deep end.
Because he actually played 2 games. He 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions.
Yeah. So now he's got a full year. Now he's got a full year with the playbook. Now he's doing the first hand offense. Jimmy Garoppolo's over there with tissues in his eye for his eyes and everything because he's seeing his team slip away. He doesn't know where he's going to play, if he's going to play. But yeah, I think Lance is going to be better. Debo's coming back, so you got your receiver running back combination there. I think. Listen, it's a well-coached team. I think Lance is going to be just fine. I think he'll be better.
Mike?
Yeah, I agree. I don't mean to sound like a jerk, but when you compare it with nothing, I would expect something. And what is it, Coach? If you have more than 2 touchdowns, it's a better season. So in 17 games.
Let's put it this way to give Coach credit because he came up with the segment.
Let's give Coach credit.
So if he has to have a better touchdown to interception ratio. If he goes ahead and has 15 touchdowns, 15 interceptions, he wasn't better.
Right.
No, he's gonna throw for 20 plus touchdowns.
Yeah. I think so.
He's gonna throw for 20.
Well, I think that all depends on Kittle.
I think he throws for 20 and runs for 20.
Yeah. And
I'm kidding.
I don't know about 20. He might get 6, 7. But
yeah.
Also, what you got to realize, he has Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan, if he didn't really believe in Trey Lance and he didn't think it, he would have kept Jimmy. But he also knows having Jimmy's only going to take me so far. Jimmy's not going to get me over the hump. He's not going to give me a Super Bowl. Because we can go back, even the year they went to the Super Bowl, it wasn't Jimmy. If anything, it was Jimmy that cost him the Super Bowl because he overthrew a post route in the middle of the field. And then the week before that, in the NFC Championship game, he threw the ball 8 times. So
Charles knows all about that.
So
listen, when he was throwing for New England, he was dropping dimes.
Man, he played 2 games and got
I know,
hurt.
but I'm just saying. So did Trey Lance.
Coach, I'll ask you this.
But Jimmy Garoppolo had better numbers than Trey Lance in 2 games when he filled in for Brady.
All right. Well, you know what? We're not going to take it all the way back to when Mike Hughes was 16. But I think, Coach, do you think there's a chance that by the end of this season, you can look at this rookie class of 2021 and say that Trey Lance is the best quarterback coming out of that class just based off of this year? Do you think he could take that kind of leap, being better than Trevor, being better than Zach? I think situationally, when you talk about winning games, you look at Justin Fields on the Bears, who's projected to be one of the worst teams in the NFL. Mac Jones, who doesn't have a single receiver.
So here's my thing about it.
I'm saying he's got more damn receivers than Fields does.
That's. I mean, what's more than 0, Coach?
Here we go. Carrying on, since we're talking about, there you go. We got Fields. Growth or no?
I think it's where you define growth. I think growth is gonna be by decision making. Growth is gonna be by how long he's holding the ball in the pocket. I think statistically, if you look at it, I don't think there's gonna be a lot of growth. I don't think you have the wide receivers like N'Keal Harry that a lot of people and I here in Chicago are kind of overhyping. The kid's already hurt. The kid's not good. He can't create space to save his life, and that was his problem in New England. You know, when I look at Justin and I watched him play yesterday, what I love about it, the Luke Getsy offense of it being part of Green Bay, is I'm seeing this kid roll out and sling the ball. He threw 2 great, perfect balls. I got to send you the videos, Coach. You would forget Justin Fields' throw. You got to see this catch by this kid Sharp. I mean, I don't know if he's going to be great, but yeah, he definitely had himself a day. And him and Darnell Mooney's connection, I think that's going to continue to grow. But like I said, I think statistically, you don't have the amount of weapons that you would like. Now, if he does, he does. Like, you're that guy. You know what I mean? If you have an improved season and you have the stats to back it up, say you have 3,000 yards passing and you have over 15 touchdowns, that's a great season with this team. But it's something to where I think mental notes is where I'm taking Justin Fields going into this year until they get him some help. And the same with Zach Wilson. Before we even get into that, it's kind of a very similar situation. So I think mental growth is going to be where I'm at with Fields so far.
Charles?
It's going to be a long season.
It's going to be a long season.
It's going to be a long season. And the only growth we're going to see is just experience. Experience running for your life. When people run for your life, they usually get caught sooner or later. I'm not saying that he don't have talent. He does. But you got a rookie head coach and a team that quarterbacks go to die. It's going to be a long season.
This is a great coach. I'll say that.
Here we go. I agree with both of you. I really and I think me and Charles, we talked about it earlier. It's 3 things about Fields. First thing, he doesn't really have anybody to throw to. He does.
He's got Mooney. Mooney's a 1,000-yard guy, but
now he's gonna really hold the ball a little bit longer. And
predict this: Fields will be the Chicago Bears' leading passer and leading rusher.
No.
Do you know who David Montgomery is, sir? Do you know who David Montgomery is, sir?
No, sir.
Yes, I do. He'll still beat up David Montgomery.
You're crazy.
All right, here we go. That boy in New England, Mac Charles, the man's best friend, lover, Jones. You go first, Charles. What do you think, Mac Jones?
I think it's going to be a lot of the same. The reason why I say that is because now you have a defensive coordinator and a has-been quarterback coach calling the shots. I'm not a fan.
Coach?
Joe Judge.
He was the receivers coach.
No, he's quarterback coach.
Oh, you talking about the quarterback coach now?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So with Mac Jones, yes, the receivers did improve a notch, bringing in Devontae Parker. I do like this kid Thornton out of college. Again, speed burner. I don't know if he'll make the team, but if he does, that could be a deep threat. The problem I see is the offensive line. They've gone from the pass blocking now to zone. So it's going to be a little bit different. We're at training camp because the offense looks horrible. Mac Jones has had a few decent plays. There's been a few decent running plays, but I'm worried. I'm really worried. I'm really hoping they get things figured out. But I see Mac throwing into the mid to upper 20s for touchdowns. Probably staying around with the interceptions.
Charles,
Jones knows how to deal with pressure. He dealt with it all year last year. Got sacked a bunch of times, got hit a bunch of times, but he still threw in the upper 60s in completion percentage. So the guy knows how to throw and throw accurate. So that's the only thing he's got going for him. Pete, they just got to protect him.
Charles, is that Tyquan Thornton that you have?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, no, that kid's a coach. I don't know if you've watched him out of Baylor, but that kid's a red zone threat. That kid's a dog. That kid is a dog. I think you look at that with Mac Jones' accuracy. I'll give him that. The kid's accurate. If you look at that in the red zone, I think that's at least 7 to 8 touchdowns that season for him, at least. I think I'll leave it alone. I think Charles hit it on the head. I think it's going to be the same. I don't see it really being, an MVP type season. I don't really see it being 30 plus touchdowns and less than 15 interceptions, but I think right where he is, somewhere from 22 to 25 touchdowns, around 15 interceptions. I think that's a good place for Mac.
I give him a couple. I got him a couple more. I got him close to 30. I'd say 28, 29 TDs.
I'll give him close. I wouldn't say anything like upper 30s, like 35, something like that. But I think with what he has, and just kind of similar to the Bears, they have a run game, but really outside of Darnell Mooney and Devontae Parker, there's really not much going on over there. So at the receiving position. So it's something to where, I think the stats are going to be the same from what they were last year, which unfortunately for Fields wasn't much. And fortunately for Mac was relatively good. So I think Mac's going to be solid.
Okay. I agree with you. I agree with both of you. I think Mac Jones he's a good quarterback. He's a manager. He managed the game. He's not going to wow you with his feet, or he's very accurate from the mid-range. So I think he's great at that. Now you get bringing in Parker. That's going to improve the game. Then, like I said, I haven't really watched Thornton that much, but both of you guys saying great things about him. So now I'm intrigued. I'm going to have to pay attention to him.
Yeah, I think if you're watching Thornton, and I say this because I know Coach is if you're missing one piece, you're missing all the pieces kind of guy. That's why I love Coach. But it's something I wouldn't pay attention to his stats when it comes to receiving yards. I wouldn't pay attention to his deep ball. I wouldn't pay attention to any of that. In the red zone, that's where this kid's going to be, and that's where he thrives. And I think that's where everybody's going to have to pay attention to.
Yeah, he's got height, and he did well. He did really well to get open on that one drive in the end zone where Hoyer found him.
Yeah,
had to break away. Hoyer was scrambling out of the pocket, but Thornton found a way to get separation. So, and that's something you'd love to see out of a rookie receiver, get separation, go ahead and help your QB, and he did that.
Something N'Keal Harry still can't do. Crazy.
Well, we're not going there. N'Keal Harry's not with the Patriots. Not our problem anymore.
Right.
Here we go. Moving on. Zach Wilson. Mike.
Yes, I think he's going to improve. I think Zach Wilson's going to be great this year. The MILF Hunter is the new nickname throughout New York for Zach Wilson after rumors of sleeping with his mom's best friend. I don't care if we shouldn't be talking about that on air. It is why I am carrying this fantasy football season. I drafted Zach Wilson. I changed the name of my team to the MILF Hunters. Sir, I'm talking about an MVP season. I'm talking about the greatest quarterback to ever walk God's green earth is going to be Zach Wilson this year. But in all seriousness, I do think he's going to be better. I think this
starting to get sick over here.
I think he has a lot of intangibles, though. I think he has a great sense of pressure, a great sense of reading a defense. I think Zach's one of those guys that the real thing about him is the waiting game. And we talked about it about Ritter. It's what can Atlanta do to make Ritter have success? And it's the same conversation with the Chicago Bears. What can the Bears do to bring Fields some weapons, bring him some success? And I think the Jets are in that situation to where they brought in a couple receivers. We're going to see how that works out. They have a stud at running back. I mean, this kid, this rookie they have coming out, I mean, this kid is something special. So I'm really excited to see that. I'm really excited to see where they start moving going forward. I just think out of all the guys you named, would I say Zach Wilson is going to have the best season? I'd put him at 3. I would say it's going to be Trey Lance, Mac Jones, and then Zach Wilson, I think, out of all of
them. Okay. Charles?
Like I said, I threw up in my mouth there a little bit, but there is not a vaccine that is strong enough to get rid of the turnover bug. However, with that being said, I still see Zach Wilson improving. I do see that he's one that's going to take risks. Yes, some of those risks are going to result in INTs, but I think he's also going to go ahead and throw a lot more touchdowns and lead the Jets to a lot more wins. Not a lot more wins, but definitely more than they had last year.
What's more than 2, Charles?
and if this running back that Mike says that he's in love with so much goes ahead and turns things around or helps out with taking the pressure off Wilson, then I would say yes. I think he's going to have a good year. I wouldn't go ahead and say MVP. I don't think the Jets ever had an MVP. We'll never have an MVP.
I don't think so.
Sorry, that's just the way it is. But the one thing, Mike, you said, I love this running back, this rookie, and then immediately I'm thinking, rookie.
Don't matter.
But it's a running back, though.
Don't matter.
But yeah,
they're here.
I think honestly,
I'm just saying. I wouldn't put too much. I listen, Mike. I would not gamble on this rookie. Okay, don't gamble. Keep your money.
500. I got 500 on Breece Hall right now, rushing over 1,000 yards. Got 500. Anybody who wants it. John in the comments, if you got 500 on Breece Hall right now.
Mike is going to lose his rent money. Stop. Do not take this bet. Just for the sake of love for Mike, do not take this bet. We do not need him moving out of Chicago. He's got too many roots up there. We don't need him getting evicted. Don't take his money.
I want to leave.
But yes, to go ahead and close, I think Zach Wilson will improve.
I think he's going to stay the same.
Really?
Yeah. Shoot, now think about it. He's out for almost a month.
Oh, yeah.
he got hurt again.
He got his knee pretty bad. It was a non-contact injury too. That's the scariest shit.
And he's throwing interceptions left and right.
You know who he reminds me of though, Coach? And I wanted to get your take on it. I was gonna have you on the show and talk about it. But I think he reminds me a lot of Jay Cutler and a Jameis Winston type guy. I think there's all the talent in the world, but he takes risks where there's no need to take risks. And I think that's the problem.
I think Jay Cutler, yes. I'm not gonna put Winston in that same group. I think a lot of people, man, what you got to realize, like Winston threw 30 interceptions. I don't always blame all 30.
No, of course, there's ones that get
Jay Cutler and Kirk Cousins were born from the same mommy. Okay, that's all I gotta say. It's just they're just moderate to low end quarterbacks. That's it.
Yeah.
Yes,
but they have all the talent of, you know what I mean, of a Pro Bowl.
I don't care if you have all the talent in the world. If you don't know how to use that talent, stay the hell off the field.
No, but that's what I'm. That's what
let
I'm
me
saying
ask you
about
this.
Zach.
Let me ask you this though. Let me ask you this. do we really think, honestly, do you really think Zach is that guy?
For the Jets,
Just in general,
I
like as
think
if you would you right now would you say for a year or a drive, I'll take Zach Wilson
I don't think anybody
Over
would probably
who?
think the
Just
Jets would
overall?
say that.
just in general. I mean, I just don't. When I look at Zach Wilson, it's I see the injuries, I see the interceptions, I see just out there running. It was like especially last year he was lost.
Right.
Now even when you watch him even in the in practice. He's throwing picks. It's
Right.
like you're not making the right decision. I can understand if you're like, okay, you're trying to see if you can get it in there. But for him, I just don't see a lot of improvement on him. I think out of all the quarterbacks, I think he's one of the weakest ones.
Yeah, I just think based off of what happened last year and bringing in as many additions as they brought in, I think there will be a big number of success for him. So I'm really excited to kind of see where he's going to be at once he gets back. Until then, Mike White is probably going to be holding that mantle because, I mean, that kid, he threw 400 yards in one of his games last year. So I guess they'll be stuck with him for about a month. But I think by default, you have to assume that this kid's going to get better. I think I'll give everyone the benefit of the doubt. And like me and you talked about last year, until year 2 is over, I can't fully evaluate who this kid's going to be because I really do want to see how guys grow and how they develop. For the quarterback position, it's kind of more so, me understanding, okay, your first year was you trying to learn how to play this game. And year 2 is going to explain, did you learn anything or is it same old, same old? And like you said, right now, from that standpoint of making good decisions, it's same old, same old. But if the talent could somehow overpower that and the talent's gotten better or the accuracy's gotten a little bit better, I think you could start to look at the pieces moving around him, like Breece Hall and a couple other wide receivers they brought in. You're going to start to see these numbers really rise. But the interceptions could still rise too. No, thank you, Mike. Come on, John. Come on, man.
All right, here we go. Last quarterback, Trevor Lawrence.
That's my boy. That's my dog. That's my road dog.
Charles, what do you think?
Guy needs to get a haircut.
You're a sin.
Listen, I never saw a more nerdier quarterback than Trevor Lawrence.
Wow.
But in the same time,
Peyton Manning.
But in the same time, I honestly think he's going to be the future in Jacksonville. So it's just he's going to grow. And he's going to go ahead and get this offense established now that there's no drama in the locker room anymore. All right, you don't have people staying up, taking chartered planes home without the team, going to nightclubs, paying strippers,
kicking
like that. Now you're engulfed into a football scheme. So this is only going to be good for Trevor because Trevor needs a daddy, and I think Jacksonville has that daddy in place, and now Trevor's going to be able to be a leader. So I think he will improve.
I hate the way you say things sometimes, Charles. Like, I don't even know what that means. But you leave Sunshine alone. Sunshine is an amazing quarterback. He's my road dog. He's why I got into college football. He's why I rooted for Clemson for quite some time. And Trevor's one of those guys that, I've watched him since 2015, since he came out of, his senior year of high school. This kid's special. And I think the biggest thing about that is the unfortunate circumstance of where you get placed when you are special in this league. You are going to a shit team. And he's going to have to create this culture. And Charles hit it on the head. And Coach, you kind of have always said it to me too, is when you need a team that has very, very much so lack of culture and lack of an identity, it's far more than just the coach. I think the players need to lead by example as well. And I think Trevor's one of those guys coming out of Clemson with Dabo is really one of those guys who can instill that Clemson type culture, instill that winning type mentality of really just being a championship quarterback and just a championship locker room. I don't care if you're the most talented guy in the room. What I care is about everybody coming in every down and really just being them. And I think Trevor brings that. And I think having Travis Etienne back, who looks pretty solid and is really kind of understanding the run game so far from his perspective and the passing game, that's going to be huge. And I think James Robinson's going to go from an every down back to a third down back. I think Travis is going to take his job. I think you're going to see the majority of that going to Travis. I think it's going to be really exciting, especially on a contract year for James. They're not going to pay him. They have Travis for another 3 years. So I think, it's going to be a great year. Christian Kirk, being there, definitely not worth $82 million, but definitely a lot better than what they had last year at the receiving position. It's going to be a lot of fun to see Trevor grow. And it's going to be a lot of fun to see that hair flow because, Charles, it ain't going nowhere. It ain't moving. It's staying. Sunshine is here to stay, and you will treat him as a king. And I think
something. He has something going for him. He'll be the first transitional quarterback ever.
Can't say that, sir. Can't say that.
Man, we're not gonna say
that, there, sir.
Hey, moving on.
No. I'm just listen. I'm just kidding.
Cancel him.
Hey, since we're right now, we're talking about Trevor Lawrence. Let's talk about the Jaguars, man. The Jaguars was 3-14 last year. Had the number 1 draft pick.
Yep.
Urban Myers was there. Oh, he destroyed it, like Charles said earlier, doing everything wrong. Like,
yep.
If you want to read a book on how to get fired as a head coach, Urban Meyer is the one to write it. You got to read his story. Now they brought in Doug Peterson, free agents. You got Christian Kirk as a receiver. You got him some toys. You got Evan Ingram that came from the Giants, which is not a bad tight end when he's healthy. You drafted Trayvon Walker, Luke Fortner, and Devin Boyd. I'm only gonna do the first 3 picks because you get to a point where it's like, So, like I said, so what do we think about the Jaguars? They went 3-14. Do we see them winning more games?
I say 6 games, max.
Why?
I think they've made good enough strides to stay competitive, but I think one of the biggest things, and we talked about at the beginning of this show, is depth. And I think they're going to be one of those teams. You kind of look at a team like the 2021 Detroit Lions. If you look at the win-loss ratio, they look like shit. But if you watch those games individually, they were, for 3 quarters of a game, they were staying in there with Green Bay. They were staying in there with the 49ers. They were staying in there with big, heavy teams. And I think that's one of the biggest things you need to look at is I think this team is going to be able to compete for the first half of a game or even, let's say, 3 quarters of a game. But I think when it comes down to crunch time and when it comes down to, like, Coach, like you said, when you need a shot, do you trust Zach Wilson and the Jets? No. When you need a touchdown, when you need a first down, do I trust anybody in the Jaguars organization at this very moment? No. And that's not just a knock at Trevor. That's just a knock at the entire team. They're not deep enough for that yet. So I think you'll win 6 games. I don't think they're going to be a top 3 draft pick. That you brought in some dogs, and Doug Peterson is that dude. He's a great culture guy. I think he's a lot of fun. I think one of the biggest issues with him was understanding a run game, but I think now he has that. So I'm excited to see what that's going to bring in. I'll give him 6. I wouldn't say any more than 6, but I wouldn't say 3.
Charles?
Potential playoff contender. You brought in experienced veterans to go ahead and help lead this team. Trevor, it's going to help Trevor go ahead and be a better leader. Doug Peterson, I think, might be the right coach for this team. I'd say 8 to 9. As long as everything gels, that means all the veterans that you brought in gel with all the current players. That means the rookies go ahead and develop the way you want them to develop, and ETN doesn't get hurt again.
Charles, can I ask you something?
No.
Well, I'll ask Coach. Because I don't want to talk to you anymore. Because you're hating on Sunshine. But I think you look at all the weapons they brought in and it's 0 to address the offensive line. That's not going to change anything then. So what are you going to do?
Yeah, but what's saying the offensive line can't improve?
It's the same team running it back.
Right, and let's say they can't improve communication-wise, blocking scheme-wise.
I'm gonna take a quote out of Coach Bennett's book. Let me ask you this: if I shit in a box today and show it to you, and tomorrow come back with the same box and show you another shit, has it changed?
Yes, it doesn't smell anymore.
Is it still shit?
Yes, but it doesn't smell anymore.
But it's still shit.
They were a pile of Steaming diarrhea.
It might still be
Now
bad.
it's not steaming anymore.
It might not be Urban Meyer's bad, but it's the same guys, and they're not good. Like it's still the same situation.
Hey, did I bash you when you said 6 games? I'm giving your nerd a little bit of credit here.
No,
8 to 9.
I'm asking you a question about the line.
No, I don't see 8 to 9. Now, because you can't say 8 to 9 because one, they play the AFC West, so that means they have to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. You got to beat the Raiders. You got to beat San Diego. You got to beat Denver. You got to beat them. And then do we really expect them to beat Tennessee? We know they're going to beat the Colts in Jacksonville. That is a given. That's a given, no matter what.
Where's Randy?
That's a given. So that's one win. And it was a dogfight battle with the Texans last year, but the Texans won. So
they won't let that happen again.
Okay. Okay.
I love the confidence.
We'll see. Since we're talking about
I love the lack of it too.
Man who
hates not 8 or 9. Not 8 or 9 wins,
right.
Charles. They're a top 5 draft pick.
You've been to the number 1 pick the last 2 years. If you can't get past the top 10 in the draft, then you've drafted wrong, or you have the wrong personnel all over the place.
Sir, I have the Detroit Lions on the phone. They've had the number 1 pick for how long?
They're not. No, it's not that
and they're doing everything wrong.
Okay, moving on. We brought up the Texans. Texans 4-13. First year coach Lovie Smith, East Texas boy.
Yes, sir.
He's Texas boy. Boom. They really didn't have any free agent signings other than they got a GM out of New England. They drafted well. They drafted.
They're going 17-0 because they went ahead and got some GM from New England.
Here he goes. No, sir. Charles. Charles. You know what? I pause you, Charles. I'm gonna mute you. You out for a second. You're on timeout. Mike.
Yes, sir.
Texas. What do you think?
I think it's a great culture. I think, from the Bears days, Lovie Smith will always go down as one of my favorite head coaches I've ever seen. Obviously, for everyone watching, I'm a youngin', so I didn't see Mike Ditka. I didn't see Buddy Ryan. I didn't physically see that. So Lovie Smith has been one of my favorite quarterbacks for a long time. But I think coaches, for a long time. It's Charles, I see you, bro. I see you. It's all love. It's all good. But with that being said, Coach, I think it's a conversation about, what his defense brings and why he lost his job as the Bears head coach to begin with. I think when you look at his scheme, it's very cover 2. It's very cover 2. And in this league, with the amount of speedy wide receivers and the amount of athletes that you have at, the running back and even quarterback position, you can't just run a cover 2 the entire time. And I think that's one of the biggest issues right now with Lovie Smith. I want to see him adapt to that. And seeing him as the defensive coordinator as the Texans, you kind of saw a change. And I'm really excited to see that change. I think it could be a good team. I don't know if he's going to be your franchise head coach for a long time. But I think right now I would definitely give him that opportunity. But before I hand it to Charles, 1, I hate you, Charles. And 2, I think one of the biggest things is his issue as a head coach is that he always had beef with the offensive coordinators. Always had beef, started issues. And I think he needs to change that mentality. And it's going to be really exciting to see if he can or if he can't. Charles, yo child ass, I'd like to throw it to you.
There you go, Charles.
How successful is Lovie Smith, the coach in the Bears?
They went to a Super Bowl.
He ain't going to go to the Super Bowl with the Texans.
But that wasn't your question.
Yeah, I'm just letting you know. I'm segueing it to it.
But I'm just letting you know they went to a Super Bowl and had a winning record every year.
If you don't improve your team, you go nowhere.
Thanks for coming to my TED Talk, sir. They were ass and they went to the Super Bowl. But thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
Hey, honestly, I think they did a good job drafting. Did a great job. Like you said, you got one of the best man-for-man DBs. It's funny, and I say that I watched. I got lucky, and I went to the Texans practice and watched them and everything. Like no one tried to throw it at Stingley. Like no one. It was when they did 7-on-7. Like he looked everywhere but Stingley, and it was kind of crazy. It's like, dang, Mills, come on, give him a chance. Let me see him in action. So defensively, they're gonna be sound. They drafted a guard in the second round. I mean, in the first round also. He's pretty solid.
Hey, and nobody went ahead and since we were talking about sophomore quarterback, nobody mentioned David Mills.
I did. I know. I totally forgot about David.
I didn't feel like
everybody forgot about David Mills, even after the year that he had.
Yeah, even watching David Mills, even watching him, he didn't throw any vertical balls. Like his deepest pass was like 15 yards.
No, he was playing it safe.
Not in practice. Not man. I'm talking about like he missed two guys that I've seen it when I watched him in practice. I like him more and more. I like what Lovey does. Lovey's he builds a foundation. Yep. He's going to build offensively. He's going to build the line, defense, and he's going to build his defense. He's going to make sure he plays defense. I think he's the more adapting to the times now because he used to be a cover 2 guy. He run even last year, and I think in the second half of the season he ran a lot of man.
Right.
A lot
and
of man.
That's a change though. Is what I was saying is like you didn't see that. It was cover 2 or bust. So to see him adapting it's promising.
Yes. And again, that you got the New England mindset. They got 30 running backs, which is cool. They gonna run the football. I can't even think his name. What's the running back out of? He was from the Colts, 3rd string.
Mac.
Yeah,
Marlon Mack. Right?
Marlon Mack looks good. He looks good.
I didn't even know he was out of Indianapolis. Good.
Yeah, he's with the Texans. Man, I mean, the Texans got a lot of running backs, but I like I like him.
I did. By the way, I didn't know Lovie Smith head coached the Bears to a Super Bowl. When was that? Well, against Indianapolis.
You leave him alone, sir. You leave him alone. Huh? You leave him alone.
I asked who. How did he head coach the Bears? And he said he went to a Super Bowl.
He made it to the Super Bowl.
That's against Indy, right? How did they do in that Super Bowl, by the way?
Dude, Charles.
They lost, Charles.
Yeah.
Can I ask you something, sir?
Yes, sir.
When's your next Super Bowl coming?
This year.
Okay, Charles.
Okay. Nate,
am I going in timeout again?
Nate, clip this.
Because you own it, man. Look, you came from Disneyland, Disney World, like, Charles.
Listen, I got heat stroke. You gotta leave me alone.
Left Disney World very optimistic. It's a little too much of a happy place. Reality hasn't set in
yet. Here we go. Going on to the Falcons. We talked about it a little bit earlier about having Marcus Mariota as a quarterback. They went 7-10. Arthur Smith going into his second year. I will say this: I was very shocked and surprised at him going 7-10. I didn't have them going 7-10 last year. So you traded Matt Ryan. You got Marcus Mariota. You got Cordell Patterson back. Ridley, who was suspended for gambling. So, what's your take, Charles, on the Falcons?
He got suspended for gambling, but right around the same time, he had to leave the team due to mental health. Who's to say Ridley's going to even be the same person coming back? How can you even rely on that person?
The mental health was a gambling addiction, sir. That's what it was. We're all over here suffering.
But I'm just saying, how do you know he's gonna be the same reliable person? He may not come back with that. Anyway, say he does. Just say he does. All right, he comes back and he's still a good caliber receiver. You got Mariota throwing the ball. That means he's overshooting them, undershooting them, interception, pick 6. It's a Jameis Winston all over again in Tampa. It's not going to do any good.
You're talking about him coming back this year?
Yes.
Oh, I mean,
he's not coming back this year.
So if he's not coming back this year, why are we even mentioning him?
I'm saying that's who's gone.
Huh?
He was saying who's gone. He was saying who departed.
Who departed? He's departed for a year.
Okay.
You got Drake London though. I like Drake London a lot. I think.
I do like Drake. I liked him in college also.
Yeah, I think that.
I'm just saying it's kind of like it just sounds like a rebuilding year for the Falcons. You got a lot of young talent. You traded your all-star quarterback, which I guess. Listen, you wanted to make a move. That's fine. I didn't understand that. But I guess that listen, it's a transition year for Atlanta.
It's not you traded because you wanted to be free. It's kind of one of those things like, hey,
Go get yours.
Go somewhere where you get
Right.
opportunity, get your
Right.
ring. Like you've done all you can for us. You got us there and we blew it, but that's a whole nother story. Now,
Yes, you did.
For all you done, guess what? Here, let you go to the Colts, and guys, let's rebuild because you have young talent.
But the question is, it's like, okay, we trade you, Matt. Now you're off to a better place. Where does that leave Atlanta?
I'll say this, Charles, and this is how I view this team. And Coach, you can let me know if I'm wrong, but it's something for me right now where I think they're in a window of, we could lose all these games and guys couldn't develop, or they could go on a huge run. A lot of these guys, not a Super Bowl appearance, not an NFC Championship type appearance, but definitely an appearance to, this team could be a wild card team. This team could be a conversation. This team could be in the conversation of just being a competitive football team. They have
wait. Talent. Mike, are you talking about Atlanta being in the playoffs, but you don't think Jacksonville will?
Yes, and I'll say that five times over.
Charles. 2 different divisions. I in a way I agree with Mike. I think they're in the window of patience.
Right. I think if it
they're
all works
in the window of patience.
Like Charles, here's your favorite word. If it all gels and these guys develop into who they expect them to develop into, I think they have no problem. And I think if Ritter finds his way into this game and he can perform at even an average level, I think with Cordell, with Pitts, when you have London and you have all these other guys on the defensive end that you brought in, it's going to be really exciting. They've built this offensive line to be better. That's the difference. Is the key difference is all of these guys they're bringing in are somewhat ready now guys. A lot of guys in Jacksonville, outside, I always forget his name, the defensive tackle they took, or the defensive edge they took. He's a stud. But it's going to come with time for those type of guys. Aiden Hutchinson's, Chase Young's, they all coach's favorite, Chase Young. They all take a little bit of time. So I don't expect a Micah Parsons type entry from them. But I think Atlanta right now, Charles, your biggest point, they already won 7 games and they just improved. Jacksonville won how many games? 2?
3?
Okay, so
3.
7 is better for them. 7 right now is the standard for Atlanta. And they got better. So I think right now you need to understand Kyle Pitts in the year 2, I'm super excited about. I think that's going to be exciting. Drake London, I'm excited about. Cordell Patterson, I'm excited about. And Marcus Mariota having weapons and kind of being a little bit more better with the football. It's a conversation. It's not exciting, but it's a conversation. I think there's a lot more to be hyped about than you look at with Jacksonville right now.
I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see Mariota being a starting quarterback.
No, me neither.
Well,
me neither.
But also what you got to realize, Charles, is not that even if he's not, they're in the NFC. You can name 6 teams, maybe 7 teams. That's good in the NFC.
I'll name 3. That's it. There's not.
But I'm just saying. Yeah. I'm just saying in general. Like we know for a fact, hey, they have a shot to make the playoffs. And there is the patience. When I say patience, I mean you're just waiting because guess what? Tom Brady don't have that. He only have maybe 2 more years left, max. So they don't have a quarterback right now. So that's a drop. Saints are going to be good. They're going to be straight. But the Rams,
I'm just saying. Okay, you improve the O-line. I get that's a big thing for Atlanta. But you go from Matt Ryan to Mariota and this Ritter guy. Did you improve in quarterback?
I think longevity you improved. I think when you look at
Ritter, that though, Charles?
Nobody does. I'm just saying you knew what you had in Matt Ryan.
What did you have with Matt Ryan?
7 wins.
If you improve the line, I'm sure you probably got more than from Matt Ryan.
I don't think so. Not at this stage. I think Matt's one of those guys who needs a lot of people around him right now. And that's one of the biggest things. Like Matthew Stafford is in a very similar situation. You throw Matthew Stafford on in the Rams, he'll take you to a Super Bowl, but he's not about to go to no rebuilding team. He's not about to lead you, especially, and Coach says it all the time, in an offensive driven league, you need help. You need help. And Matt Ryan's at a stage of his career where he's not the most mobile. He's not going out there and he's not taking all these hits. Like they said, they wanted the free Matt. They wanted to give him a shot at glory somewhere else because they blew it the first time. And I think that's one of the biggest things right now. When you're looking at the future, you look at everything going on in Carolina, Corral, coach, they are paying 2 quarterbacks, Baker and Sam. And you talked about Corral. That's a problem. You have a revolving door of quarterbacks. You look at the Saints. After this season, the Saints financially are in a very bad
They've
position.
always been financially. They was
Always
30.
bad.
They was minus 30, and then all of a sudden they had $10 million to spend.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, though, is next year there is no escape from that. Everybody's a free agent.
Okay. But we'll see. Moving, since you was talking about Carolina, what do we think about Carolina? Because when you look at Carolina, boom, 5-12 with Matt Rule, I truly believe he's on a hot seat. You have 2 quarterbacks. You traded for quarterbacks. So you have that quarterback battle, Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield. Charles, what do you think?
When you have that type of juggling act, you're a clown.
Yep.
And I think he has no idea what direction this team is in. And when you've had control of that team and you don't know what direction you're going in, you're in trouble. And I think Matt Rule's in trouble. That's simple as that. That's all I can really sum it up on.
Mike?
From personal experience, it's actually, we were talking about it on a Bears Nation podcast and on a couple other shows, is, when you have 3 quarterbacks or even 2 quarterbacks, you have none more times than not. And I think that's the situation. I dealt with the same thing. You had Justin Fields, who's a rookie, Corral. You're looking at Andy Dalton and Nick Foles. Okay, there's Baker and there's Sam hand in hand doing somersaults together. Like, you don't have anybody right now that you could really look at and say, this guy's the future of the franchise. And that's the problem. And I think right now, one, you don't know where Baker's head is. Does he even want to be in Carolina? He's going to be a free agent at the end of the year. Sam, does Carolina want Sam in Carolina? I bet they regret that right now. That's why they brought in Baker. And Corral, kind of like we talked about, with Malik Willis, was just, and Malik Willis is by far better. But it's that situation of, you were a later round guy. It's just kind of a what if, kind of thing. It's an experiment. Let's see if it works out. We'll look genius. If it doesn't, oh well. It's a conversation. To me, it all revolves around Christian McCaffrey. And if that's what it revolves around, that's a problem, because this kid can't stay healthy to save his life. And that's the biggest thing about it. If he can stay healthy, I could see this team being a very solid team, especially with the secondary that they have. They could be a great defense. And I think the problem with that is the second Christian McCaffrey ends up on that IR, that season's done, because you're putting the ball in Baker or Sam's hand, and I'm not willing to do that.
Everybody's in trouble if they sign Cam Newton again.
No, yeah, and I can't believe I forgot about that too. You bring in Cam, and it's like,
I'm back.
It's that, you just mad because it didn't work out in New England, but
it's all good. Even if Christian gets hurt, you got Foreman. Foreman's gonna pound the ball in.
Yeah, but Foreman, see, that's the thing though. Is Foreman gonna win you games? Christian's gonna win you games. Jonathan Taylor wins you games. Derrick Henry wins you games.
Well, you can't say Jonathan Taylor wins you games because he couldn't beat the Jaguars.
Listen, that's a whole different mess. I don't even know how to explain that.
Anyway, last team. We're gonna talk about the Lions. 3-13, man.
I'm excited.
I'm gonna be honest with you.
Go ahead.
If you haven't watched Hard Knocks,
the greatest.
If you haven't watched Hard Knocks, you will start rooting for the Lions. The Hard Knocks Lions is good. It's a lot of emotion. I like how they did it because the Lions has always been a joke. It's always been that team where you're like, you're not gonna make the playoffs. You don't have a chance. So watching Hard Knocks and you seeing them and you listen to them, you got Hutchinson. Hutchinson looks good. He's learning. So how do we feel about the Lions?
I'll go. I'm so excited to go because I said this to y'all last year when Dan Campbell came on and said, I'm going to bite everybody's kneecaps off. Everybody was laughing at him. And I was like, yo, That's my guy. I love Dan Campbell. I've been huge on him, and now the whole world is seeing it on Hard Knocks. I don't care. There's no bias here. I'm a Bears fan, sir. And I hate the Lions. I love making fun of the Lions, but they are a fun team. This team is fun. This team is exciting. Jamal Williams is the heart and soul of that offense, not on paper, but this kid is so much fun. This kid's crying in practice breakdowns. He's just fun. He's just fun. And I think one of the biggest things right now when you look at this Dan Campbell team is, it's very player coached and very player friendly coaches. And I think when you have guys who understand the game, guys who can play the game, but not only that is to understand how to make a scheme, that's when you start having success. And I think the only thing holding them back, I think Penei Sewell is going to be great. I think Hutchinson is going to come into his own. I think everybody's really going to do better from a wide receiver standpoint. Hawkinson's going to be Hawk. I love Hawk. He's great. My big thing is Jared Goff. And that's really what it comes down to is, you're stuck with Jared Goff, and it's really unfortunate. I don't see him being any different than what he is, even with Dan Campbell and this new offense. But I think at the end of the day, they're going to be better than what they were last year. And I said it, earlier to compare a team. They were a team that competed with the Packers. They competed with the 49ers. They competed with some high caliber teams. And in the fourth quarter, they fell apart. And I think that's what the difference is going to be this year is, can they start to actually win games, not just hang in there? Can you win games? And I'm excited to see what they can do. I don't think they're going to win the division. I still have them third. I think the Vikings are going to be great this year. I think Green Bay is going to kind of remain a constant, even without Devontae Adams. But I think it's starting to get a little bit more exciting to be a Detroit Lions fan for the 5 people that are. So I like them. I like the road they're going.
Jared has a better opportunity to be the next Subway guy than a quarterback, a decent quarterback. Just want to throw that out there. I predict the Lions will go 2-15, and their 2 wins will be against the Bears. No, I'm kidding. Love, all love, not loser.
That's a backwards L, sir. You've been doing it all show.
It's called my camera phone. It flips. Okay, leave me alone.
Wrong is wrong.
Anyway, all right. So, yeah, to Mike's point, you're stuck with Goff. You got a problem.
Yep.
If anything, get Jimmy G in there for crying out loud.
Why not?
Right? But Goff did it with the Rams, but he had a lot of firepower. You don't got it here in Detroit. So he just needs to basically follow the rules of do not throw it too many times.
Right. And
check down and hand the ball off.
See, that's the problem, though, Charles, is I've seen this man call hike and drop the ball. Like, I can't even trust him to call hike anymore. Like, that's how bad he was last year. And that's something where it's like, I can't even trust you to hand the ball off. That's a problem.
So all I got to say is, it might be fun. There might be a lot of energy in Detroit. They may be having a good time right now. HBO's over there cutting jokes. They're having everything catered. And, again, they're having fun in Detroit. Week 1 comes, the fun stops.
Yeah.
The fun stops for Detroit. I'm sorry. And that's another team. Always in the top 5 in the draft. What the F are you doing with your draft picks? Get a damn quarterback. I'm out.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's one of the biggest things. I mean, if you look at all these teams that we talked about, you talked about the Jaguars, you talked about the Lions. I mean, it's quarterback play. Like, they drafted well. Calvin Johnson. You had Sue. You drafted great. You had great players there, but the quarterback just couldn't get it. I mean, at the time. But
the party's over.
Preseason, week 1 is in the books. You got 1 game today, and we're gonna come back again next Sunday. Mike, last words.
Listen, I'll bet anybody $20 right now that Devontae Adams has a touchdown today. Anybody want to take that? John, if you're still here, let me know.
Charles, last words.
Guardians of the Galaxy is the best freaking ride ever at Disney. Go ride it.
I'll have to
I don't
check
care if
that
you
out.
have to pay to get on it. Go ride it. It
Yeah,
is the best damn ride ever.
Is that new, Charles? Because the last time I was there, I was like 14.
Yes.
Definitely newer since you've been there.
Damn.
Hey, all right, that's it, man. Touchdown crew, we out.
Whole sports, all plays. Yeah. Whole sports, all plays. Whole sports, all plays. 365, we're making up plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.